Everybody hopefully has ordered their food. We're going to go ahead and get started so that we'll be able to get done on time. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. My name is Andrea Miller, for those of you who don't know me, and even those of you who do know me, I'm Andrea Miller still. So hello and thank you very much for coming. We have a group of people today who are going to speak, and our topic is going to be on Restore Our Vote, restoration of voting rights for ex-offenders. So not only the ex-offenders here in Virginia, but also literally throughout the U.S. So I'd like to begin introducing the panel. If you open the booklets that we've given you, all the information we've given you is yours to keep, by the way. So please feel free to take any notes that you want. So next person I want to introduce is Stephen Spitz. Stephen is co-chair of Progressive Democrats of America, and we're the organization
in Virginia.
In Virginia. Thank you. I'm the other co-chair, and we are putting on this event, and this has become one of the key issues that we have in Virginia. And thanks to Stephen's effort, we are working very hard to make this a national issue. As we go through our program, you will hear the national implications. Actually, next to me, I have Pat Hines. Pat, you're going to need to introduce Stephen, if you would introduce Pat.
Well, let me introduce Pat in the following ways. Pat, I've known for, I don't know how many years now, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Pat is on the leadership team, as is Frank Anderson here of a grassroots organization called Brigades, which started after the Webb campaign. Pat also, like me, and now Frank, even though Frank is a convicted felon, is now a member of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee in a somewhat controversial event, which they discussed, can we actually have a person who doesn't have voting rights be a member of the Democratic Committee? And the answer was yeah. Right. So, and Pat also is active with Organizing for America, which is the grassroots group, the continuation from the Obama campaign. Pat is a lawyer who isn't practicing law, but is doing something actually much more valuable now. She's a teacher in the state of Virginia, in Fairfax County. So is that enough?
Yeah, that's good, thank you.
And she has a daughter now going to Boston University. You know, not only Virginia, but outside Virginia. You should know, I just found out just this 5 minutes ago that Yvonne Miller just asked Frank to be her friend on Facebook. So you see, Frank is wanted as a friend.
And now that you know who we are, we may have a couple more people on the panel join us. We'd love to have you folks officially introduce yourselves to each other and also to the members of the panel who may not have had an opportunity to meet you. So I'm going to start on this side of the room, and I'm going to go that way.
She also works out of Roanoke at the Oliver Hill House, right?
Oh, that's correct.
Right. And Oliver Hill was one of the original plaintiffs in the Brown versus Board of Education lawsuits. And Howard and his students have been very active in this issue. And Howard was very gracious to sponsor a event in this same topic last November at the Washington Lee Law School, where we got folks organizing, and we intend to keep on this issue throughout the state and until every single person knows about it, and then we can change what is going on here. So Howard, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, well, that's so now all you wonderful folks who are going to be our activists, we're going to help spread this really, really, really important word. Marcello, please, we'll start with you. Keep it to about 1 minute. It is our goal that we're going to be out of here by 4. Full presentation that I'm going to quickly walk people through from the HCLU, where they're going to give an overview of felony disenfranchisement. And then I'm going to read a portion of an email that I got yesterday from a voting rights activist. So we printed this out. The slides are a little bit small, but there may be some points that you're going to want to make notes of. So we make sure you have little note writing areas there. Got to put on my glasses so I can see, even though this is giant. Voting is the most fundamental right in a democracy, because when we vote, that's when we choose who our leaders are going to be. And so if you don't have the ability to choose your leaders, you don't have the ability to participate in democracy. So that's why the right to vote is so important. No. All right, now, in Virginia, we are estimating there are 3 people that are affected because they are former felons or ex-offenders. In the entire United States, there are millions of people who are affected. That I really understood what the numbers were like in Virginia, and the fact that in Virginia, once you become an ex-offender, or basically once you're convicted of a felony, you lose your right to vote until, and now, there are, in 48 out of 50 states, people with felony convictions are impacted in some way where they are not allowed to vote. Hi, welcome. I am so glad you were able to make it, Barbara. This is really great. The U.S. cannot vote because of felony convictions, and as the incarceration rate rises, of course, then so do the number of people who are disenfranchised. Now, they have a map, and the map is color-coded. I'm going to draw your attention to 2 really interesting sets of states. In the New England area, I want you to notice Maine and Vermont. See how they're colored orange? In those 2 states, people can vote from prison. All right? Those are the only 2 states in the United States where you can be in prison, and when there is an election, people campaign right in the prisons. All right? So not only do you need the vote of the citizens, you need the vote of the prisoners, because in Maine and Vermont, they are still citizens. I want you to think about that. When you are basically charged with felony, the way that our laws work, for all intents and purposes, you stop being a citizen, because you lose that right. Now, I also want to draw your attention to Kentucky and Virginia. They are gray. They are the last 2 states out of the 50 states where, when you are convicted of felony, you lose your right to vote for life unless the governor gives it back to you. Yep.
Brennan Center,
Brennan Center. Yep.
Out of NYU Law School. There is on page 3,
Slightly
the entire
different version.
page, it has, in bigger print,
Oh, okay.
the information that Andrew is talking about. You see Virginia and Kentucky, they're all in its own little dark red color. And then you see in Maine and Vermont and so far in between. See, there's a variety of different treatments of folks who have felony convictions. But the 2 worst states are Virginia and Kentucky.
Now, I'm going to skip over a couple of pages. So we want the slide back in your flippy book that talks about disenfranchisement policies share a history of racial prejudice. When they passed the 15th Amendment, that banned states came up with all types of different rules to prevent African Americans from voting. So one of the things that they were able to basically come up with that still persists in Virginia and Kentucky is, if you have been convicted of felony, you can't vote. Because one of the things they realized was the way that many laws were applied bus